Durant for Clutch Player of the Year, which is a stupid award.
I kind of like it. It's a new one.
I don't think that it's not on the same level, but I feel like an award for Defensive Player of the Year and Clutch Player of the Year being in like the same thing is weird to me.
What do you mean the same thing?
I feel like they're just like the same level. Obviously, MVP's up here, and then you've got like the other awards.
Oh.
I feel like Clutch Player of the Year being in the same conversation as those is weird to me.
So wouldn't you already feel that way about like Sixth Man of the Year?
Six man's like a valuable like role thing.
Yeah, but it's not Defensive Player of the Year. I feel like that's a clear gap. And Clutch is more important than Sixth Man of the Year.
I do not think so.
What? Somebody who's controlling
Not every game has clutch moments.
But it is it's extremely valuable to have the guy who is the best in the clutch in the league. How is that
But
not
I
a
also
valuable
feel
thing to
like
have?
the guy that is the best in the clutch in the league is like a very subjective thing. Because like it'd be Jokic every time.
Who
Because
performs the best? Yeah, I mean, all of these things are subjective. It's not any more so than like all these other awards.
It is they're at the whims of their team being in moments that are close.
What does that mean?
If a team is just better than everyone else, if you're on a very, very good team that doesn't squeak out wins, you're not in moments like, oh, that was clutch. Even if you're just like continually to bury someone.
Why are you acting like it's only total points matters? I feel like
I just bring up points, just in general.
or not points, but I mean like you're acting like it just like the more games you have that are close, that is like somehow
People
like,
in their brain would like associate you more with clutch moments.
I'm sure that would help, but I just don't think that it's going to be like that. Like it's not going to disqualify somebody if like the Kings are just in a bunch of clutch games and then the Nuggets aren't in near as many, like they're in half as many, but Jokic was just like insane, like his averages in clutch time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like there's still a really good case to be made for Jokic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
I
not
just don't
all-
get how it's way more important than Sixth Man of the Year.
Because it's the person who's winning his team games in the clutch, like in the most important moments of a game.
Yeah.
So why is that not more valuable than the sixth best player on your team, or the guy who comes off the bench on your team?
The guy that comes off the bench and like in my brain it's more like the guy that runs the second unit and keeps things moving through the game. Every game.
And so that's more important than having a guy who in
similar
close
realm.
games.
Not more, but in
There's
a
no
similar
way.
realm.
Are you smoking something? Are you on crazy pills? I feel like this is the most insane thing I've ever heard you say.
That's not even close to true, but
How is the sixth man of the year on the same level as the player who is winning his
I
team
think
games?
the thing that gets me more is the clutch thing feels so much more abstract than six. Maybe that's what I'm struggling.
It's
to,
just
like,
about who's performing the best in like the last 5 minutes of a game that's
close.
under
Yes.
5 points difference in score.
So I think it's just more that it's like this more abstract concept than you're the best guy that comes off the bench. You're
But
not a starter. Here's a high
There is a hard line though for what is clutch time, and that is in the final 5 minutes and within
Well, that's
5
what it's
points.
like labeled as.
Yeah, that's like a objective line. There's clutch time stats or crunch time stats or whatever it's called.
Okay, so
That's what
let's say there's a
dictates it.
weird, crazy world where we'll just use Jokic as an example because I feel like he's a guy that is in this realm. Like we've seen him hit game winners, we've seen him do crazy things.
Yeah.
Let's say the Nuggets are so crazy, they're in 0 of those games somehow.
Okay, yeah,
Should he just be disqualified from this thing then?
probably.
Because his team was just better enough.
Yeah, so you see how that's like way less of an issue than disqualifying every single starter for an award? You get what I mean? Like it's like
No, I
you're
do
disqualifying
understand.
somebody, like just the very few guys that are like.
I just think they're on the same level in terms of awards. So would you put Clutch on the same level as Defensive Player of the Year?
around that level, yeah. I'd probably put it a little bit below Defensive Player of the Year.
I can, okay.
But it's
agree to
close.
disagree, but as long as it's below Defensive Player of the Year. Because that's like a game in and game out, every game type of thing in my...
Yeah, that's kind of why I lean that way too. But there's not many, like that's probably the only two, that and MVP are the only two awards that I think are more important of like the individual awards, not counting all
I
NBA.
can't tell if it's like new or I don't know. It just feels weird to me. It feels like a made up throwaway thing. I understand that having someone that has ice in their veins and is like just a murderer is an insanely important thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fully aware of, and maybe it's because it's a new award, 2019, something like that.
Last year was the first year they did it. Fox is the first ever winner of the Jerry
Was the
West
first
Trophy.
one?
Yep.
And why was Jerry West just a murderer in like
Mr.
crunch
Clutch.
time?
Yeah, that's his
Well,
nickname.
people have, I guess that's fair.
Yeah, that's why he got that nickname.
Westbrook is not Mr. Triple Double, or is he? And I'm just crazy.
That might be a nickname of his on Basketball Reference. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. But he's also way later in the history of the sport of basketball. Oh, yeah, literally Mr. Triple Double is a nickname.
Well, I'd hope so, because that is like what he does better than anybody else ever.
So what did you mean when you said he's not Mr. Triple Double?
I just didn't know because I'd never heard anybody say it before.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
was like asking a genuine question more than
Yeah.
anything. I don't know why my brain can't like, because I get that having a clutch person is important, because I've watched a lot of basketball teams that didn't have that guy.
Yeah.
That had like this weird, not hot potato on who's going to take the shot, but it was like the one guy that was like, it's me, was not the one that we wanted to be doing it.
Yeah, the Celtics were one of the worst teams a few years ago in crunch time games. They lost every close game they were in, basically.
Because it was like before Jason Tatum like walked onto a court and was like, I'm better than everyone else here.
Yeah.
He still had that weird like, oh my goodness, I'm playing a game with
And so
Kevin
you
Durant.
think that what Malcolm Brogdon did for you last year is more important to your team than what Jason Tatum developed into, getting that like aspect of his game? You know what I mean? Like, how is that even comparable?
I guess that makes sense. Like, I just didn't have like a concrete thing to connect it to.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like, also I think it's just the word clutch. That feels like such a non-award word.
Like non,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Official. It just seems like, it just
non-official.
seems like a weird, not, in that I just can't,
Yeah.
the more and more like it gets explained, I get it.
Mhm.
But my brain just could not like, it just doesn't seem like a real award.
Yeah. I get you. It makes sense. But yeah,
I still think it's like, in terms of an award, it just seems like such a weird thing, because there's just some guys that are in that situation all the time. Because it'd be Damian Lillard every year.
yeah, but like, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I get what you're saying.
In essence, to find the clutchest player that doesn't change year to year. The dude that's the most like, if this award existed during the 90s, it's just Michael Jordan always. Except for when he's not playing basketball.
To me, I feel like it's not that crazy to think about, okay, like the candidates for this year will be like a guy that, you know, all year long we just saw them continually put in crunch time scenarios and they just would continue to pull their teams out of those spots. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's narrowing the parameters to make more specific. But the thing is, like, the award you brought up, or I think I brought it up actually, but Sixth Man of the Year is like the main example of an award doing that exact thing, narrowing the parameters in like a way worse way. It's like, who is the best guy of all the guys who don't start?
Well,
You know what I
think
mean?
Yeah, but it's like not a teammate award. It's just like a sixth man is like a valuable thing, because it's like there's teams out there that the sixth man is like what carries you through stretches of games the same way some guys carry you through crunch time. Obviously, when second units are in, that is not the same level of importance to winning a basketball game as crunch times. But like, if you have a terrible lull where your team can't do anything, and your starters just have to rest and then go fix it,
the Nuggets,
it's just a problem. You know what I mean? So having a guy like what I think Chris Paul's going to be whenever we get to Sixth Man of the Year award, that just runs your second unit and makes that like a not drop off from the moon, is also their awards. None of them are not valuable at all.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not one of those people who, I've heard people that just completely make fun of the Sixth Man of the Year and think it shouldn't be an award. I don't agree with them. I'm just saying, if you have a problem, if you have a problem with the Clutch Player of the Year award, why do you not have a problem with the Sixth Man of the Year award? Is what I was more saying.
Yeah, and I think I still can't. I'm still kind of struggling. I'm sure I'll sleep on it and it'll make more sense. It's just, I'm almost positive it's just the word clutch that's just messing with my head.
Yeah, I kind of get that. I feel like I was just aware of, like a few years ago, I feel like I was, when I first became aware of clutch time stats, like clutch stats.
That's like
it's
a
like
real
official
number that they keep track of.
Yeah, and they'll pop up on the screen when you're watching games. Ever since I became more used to seeing that, it's like an official, like legalized thing, like with a cutoff on what defines it. So it makes sense, like as a concept. It's not just like this idea. It's more of like a actual thing.
It's like an actual thing.
Yeah.